Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Never press the start and end stream button twice in succession because you end up just ending the stream. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to be a professional when you're streaming, and specifically about the Digital Stage Revolution event, which is the first event from me, from Take One Tech, that I'm doing. This is a live event. So apologies in advance that this is basically a bit of self-promotion. So what we're talking about is the event that I've got coming up in Dallas at the end of October, or beginning of October, I should say, the Digital Stage Revolution. And this is all about the same kind of things that I talk about on this channel, really, because my mission is to help people elevate their online presence. And so all of the things that I talk about on the channel are all in support of that. So, I mean, even if you want to just take a look over on the Take One Tech Academy page at my mission statement, it says very much that already. If I just pop over here, there you go. There is my mission statement: to help you become more productive, impactful, and professional with tech, so you can confidently present yourself and your content online, and empowering business professionals to and coaches to enhance their online presence and elevate their presentations with the latest tech solutions, and how to do that sort of effortlessly with ease, so that you can present things in a smooth manner without any technical hiccups. And the irony of having one right at the beginning of this is not lost on me. So really, this has been kind of my mission as Take One Tech has evolved, and realizing who the core of the people who are coming in to book my consultation sessions and those that are joining the academy, and what those folks are all looking to do. And it is this thing of elevating themselves in their meetings, in their presentations, in their webinars, in their online courses, and how to actually harness all of the tech to do that. Because there is this kind of magical thing that happens once you have all of these different components in place, and it can seem a little bit daunting building out like a studio and all of these things to begin with. But once you have all of these components in place and get into the flow of using them, what happens is all of the tech just sort of seamlessly disappears into the background. And so you can just sort of be switching between different scenes, different setups with ease. And when it comes to it being in a meeting, for example, then if you do have something to show on the screen and you're in your Zoom meeting and you just need to pull up something, then you can literally just press a button and then it is there. So if you want to talk about the Take One Tech Academy, which is what I'm talking about. This is a resource here that's got, we've got lots of courses in here that are all in support of that. So talking about using YouTube, Discord, Kajabi for the business side of it, then obviously Ecamm, Zoom, the Rodecaster Masterclass, Stream Deck Masterclass, and all of these different things. And then we have the monthly workshops. We've had one just earlier on this week, which was about utility apps for the Mac to help you be more productive and efficient. And that's the thing about the Academy as well, is it's not just about the actual tools themselves for delivering, presentations and so on, and the techniques for that. It's also about all of the supporting things that go into actually running the business as well. So that is covered in the monthly workshops. And then we had just a couple of weeks ago the Kajabi Accelerator to help folks to actually launch their business on Kajabi if they're wanting to do that. Lots of people have already got an existing business but are realizing there is a huge opportunity to monetize the knowledge. I mean, I think everybody has a course in them. And so Kajabi is the platform that I use to host all of my courses on. And so we had the Kajabi Accelerator, which was teaching people how to sort of harness the power of Kajabi for their own businesses. And then there's also group coaching and one-to-one coaching solutions in there as well. So that's all part of the Academy. And as I say, this is really the sort of driving force behind what I'm doing on the channel. All the stuff that I cover on the channel is in support of that. But what I found is, through all of the coaching sessions that I have, so there's many coaching sessions every week with people, either booking individual on consultations, and you can find that at the consultation link that I'll leave down in the description as well. But just having either general tech issues or wanting to, really have a development plan in place to sort of hone their skills and get their equipment set up. And I mentioned there about the sort of tech setup. It's worth just talking about this because in a recent coaching call, somebody was saying to me that they felt like it's almost a never-ending, a never-ending process of constantly having to add more things into your tech setup. And we do talk about GAS, which is the gear acquisition syndrome, that feeling like there is always another bit of tech to buy. But it really does get to a point where it plateaus, I believe. So when you're first starting out, you get maybe a new camera, you maybe want to add in a second camera or another stream deck or whatever. Then you find you don't have enough ports on your computer, so you have to buy another dock. Then you want to add in an extra monitor, but that monitor, you've reached the limit of monitors on your Mac, so then you need a different kind of dock that will enable you to plug all of the these additional monitors in, and you may be aiming for something where you've got a multi-monitor setup, maybe multi-stream deck setup, not necessarily multi-roadcaster, that's a bit extreme, but these kind of things. But and then coming on to lighting and so on as well. But there really is, for me, I believe, a sort of almost a fixed toolkit that you really need to have, the optimum setup. And I would say, some essentials are not necessarily 5 stream decks as I've got on my desk and floor, but certainly 1 stream deck. If you're doing anything with meetings and so on, then having a teleprompter, but then, which teleprompter do you choose there? There's lots of potential avenues you could go down. And so it's understanding what all of this tech is, but then also having like a roadmap in place of how to actually go about building this. And crucially, what to buy and what not to buy, and what would be a waste of money, and what would be an unwise purchase. So I think that a lot of the gas comes about because people are maybe kind of struggling to find out what they need, and so they're buying lots of things that maybe they don't need, and so it does feel like this endless treadmill of buying gear to try to just level up your studio. But as I say, I really think that it can be a very simplified path to just having all that you need to be able to deliver these high quality online presentations in your meetings, webinars, and so on. And why is this important? Well, it really is something that, when you show up in a meeting and you are looking and sounding good, and I don't mean physical appearance, I just mean literally the quality of your image, then even before you've said anything, to be honest, if you're in a group meeting and you're on screen, looking sharp, pixel-wise, then you're immediately going to command more authority than some other people who maybe are going to be showing up. They might be wearing a nice suit, but if their image is all grainy and pixelated, or they've just got a bad quality, low quality camera, or worse still, a bad camera angle, the classic zoom, up the nose shot, then you're putting yourself immediately above those people. And the same when you actually start to speak then. If people can hear you clearly, it is about, ultimately, what we're talking about is communicating your message and communicating your value. So if you are able to be heard clearly without any background noise, without any, poor quality audio, then once again, it's helping to elevate you that little bit more as well. And it really does make a difference. You do have more impact if people can see and hear you more clearly. Then when it comes to just, the overall background that you've got, I mean, mine is a little bit YouTuber-like at the moment with the coloured lights and things like that. But certainly when I'm showing up in meetings, then I'll do things to change the background. So I do sometimes still use green screen in certain limited occasions. But even just changing the colour of the background to make it something a little bit more corporate rather than a gamer-like, or whatever you want to call this particular look. Not that I'm a gamer, but so there's lots of ways that you can sort of enhance your on-screen presence. So on-screen presence is more than just about how you look in your camera. And with that in mind, I came up with this idea of a formula, basically, for what we actually need to do in order to level up our on-screen game and in meetings and presentations and so on. And I call it the value formula because it is all about having the tech and then the tech getting out of the way so that you can deliver your true value. And the value stands for V is for visuals, and that's exactly what I'm just talking about. It's more than just about the way that your camera quality. It's about your background. It's also about the way that you can bring information onto the screen as well. The days of slide decks, we were just having this conversation in one of the Q&As yesterday or the day before in the academy where somebody was asking about slide decks and how best to sort of incorporate those. And my view is that slide decks should not be anymore just single slides and you being off to the side talking to them. Certainly not in Zoom where the slides take over the full screen and the people can't see you. I always believe that the person delivering the content should still always be the focus of that. And so creating immersive presentations where information sort of flies in from the side maybe in support of what you're saying is the key there. And then when it comes to actual presentation technique as well, with how much information you put on the screen, in certain cases, an image paints 1,000 words, doesn't it? But in other cases, you do need to actually have a significant amount of, you need to have significant amounts of information displayed at some point. This could be if you're talking about a flowchart. It could be about if you're thinking about my architectural past, showing architectural designs, thinking about some of my stuff in the trading world, then being able to show algorithms and things like that on screen. You need to be able to show these things and these flowcharts and so on. But how do you go about doing that effectively? So that in itself is another skill. And so breaking down what is sometimes complex matter, but finding a way to introduce it in a way on the screen where it is an immersive experience and you are part of it is really the key here. So that is all to do with the visuals. I mentioned about being heard as well. So that comes down to the audio. And so in the value formula, V is for visuals, A is for audio. So understanding how to get that dialed in. And that encompasses a whole load of things as well. So that is about obviously how you sound, but it's also about how you can, route audio in different ways to do various different things. I'm working with somebody in the academy at the moment who is just going through the process of getting it all set up, having actually just switched over to a Mac from a PC to get all of this done as well. Really smart move. But they're doing something really interesting, which is, they've got some people that they're working with are coming in on Discord, but then they have a client that they're bringing in on Zoom, and then they also then calling into somebody and bringing that person in on mobile. So there's these three different things that are all being routed through the Rodecaster. Then that is all going into Ecamm and being recorded, but also, routing into the Zoom as well. So some really interesting audio routing problems to solve there, and fortunately the Rodecaster Duo is kind of like the ideal piece of equipment to do that. But these are the kind of challenges that we face with audio, and you can do some really interesting things that once again just put you on that higher plane than everybody else. There's not many other people would be able to sort of pull something like that off, and for everybody to have crystal clear audio. So it's quite an achievement to be able to do that. So the next point then is of the value formula is the L, which is for lighting. And so obviously there's a lot that goes into that. It isn't just about making sure you are illuminated. And, we always say that lighting can make even the worst camera look okay. But poor lighting with a great camera, you're still not going to have necessarily a great look. So the lighting is critical, really. And then there are other aspects to lighting, like how you can use it in the background and things like that to just sort of set a tone of the event or whatever it is you are doing as well. So that's the lighting aspect. Next of the value formula is the U, which is understanding. And this is obviously about understanding how to use all the tech toys. So once you do get your studio set up, and you've got these various different devices, you've got your lighting, understanding where to position those and how to position those, understanding how to use your stream decks, and obviously the routing of the Rodecaster and things like that. Once you've got all of that understanding, that is obviously one big part of it. But there's another aspect to understanding, which is even understanding what is possible. And I have this all the time where somebody will book a call with me, and then we'll get on the call and they'll tell me what they're trying to achieve, and they'll say that this is the problem I've got and I just need to get this part done. And quite often I'll say to them, well, that's great, and I can certainly solve that problem for you, no problem. But have you thought about maybe this other thing that you could do which would enhance what, the ultimate end result of what you're trying to do? And so there's this aspect of maybe not understanding quite what is even possible, or how better you could be delivering your content. So there again, this idea of bringing slides in and how's the best way for me to, show this slide? And, my answer would be, well, okay, we can do it like this. this with Ecamm, your slide on that side and you on the other. But how about we do it this other way, where you make an immersive presentation, and then there are multiple different ways that you can incorporate your slide deck from PowerPoint directly into Ecamm, either using the live video feature or using green screen overlay, so that your information just sort of flies in from the side. It's all of these different unknowns that most people are not aware of. That is the sort of gap in knowledge. So it's that understanding of what is possible, as well as understanding how to use the tools. The final part then is the E, which is for execution. And this is the part that, a lot of people have got all of the gear, got all of the toys, but they're still not quite into a flow and a rhythm of using it. Somebody else in the academy had got a Stream Deck nicely boxed up, and meanwhile were sort of apprehensive about starting to use Keynote combined with Ecamm going into Zoom for their Zoom webinars, because there was this kind of like fear of having to manage all of these different points. There was the fact that, well, you've got the Stream Deck. If you just get that on the desk, then that then becomes your mission control, and that's the thing that ties it all together. So the execution is about getting all of these things together, and then being in a state where you can actually get into a flow of using them, because there's this magical thing that happens where the tech just sort of fades away once you get into that position, and maybe you're switching scenes with your feet, with your fingers on your Stream Deck, or maybe you're doing it some other way. There's lots of different ways that you can interact with this stuff, but once it becomes second nature, then we're not all tech experts. Everyone is an expert in their own field. That doesn't mean that they're necessarily a tech expert. And what I found is that everybody coming through the academy, booking calls with me, they're all their own experts in their field, and they're trying to deliver their value, and so they just want the tech to disappear almost, so that they can just get on with that aspect. And so when it comes to that, that's kind of, if you look at all the courses that I've got in the Take One Tech Academy, they're all trying to answer those questions for specific bits of tech, for specific applications as well that are related to that. The Academy then is intended to give people the support that they need on an ongoing basis with those, weekly coaching calls, the weekly weekly group calls, I should say, the Q&As, those monthly workshops. And it's intended to help people, when they're sort of going through this journey, to have the support to sort of to achieve that. And obviously then you get the whole sort of group aspect of it as well, that it's not just, me there as a Q&A answering questions, but everybody is chipping in as well. And you get that sort of whole hive mind effect going on as well. So I really love the Academy from a personal point of view, from just being able to have that action. It also obviously feeds back into everything I'm doing to try to make everything a little bit better as well. So that is the sort of whole driving force behind what I'm doing, and that is the sort of value formula. But what I found is that there is this other thing that people sometimes just need this jump start. They want to just have like the framework in place for them to hit the ground running, and that's really why I created the Digital Stage Revolution event. It is intended to sort of fill that gap of just getting that sort of head start. So with that value formula in mind, there are essentially 4 days to the event. The event, as I say, is in October in Dallas, and it's also live on Zoom as well. So it's a hybrid event, so you can attend whether you're in Dallas, or whether you want to fly to Dallas, or whether you want to just be anywhere else in the world on Zoom. And I'll tell you about the dates of it and timings a little bit more. But basically, it is a 4-day event, and it's split into a number of different sections. So if you want to take a look at the schedule, it is basically day 1 is all about laying the foundations and building out your digital stage. So this is where we're talking about those different elements of the value formula, the V, the A, the L, and getting those things in place. And also understanding, how they apply specifically to your setup, and giving you basically a roadmap of what you need to do in order to get to that level where you're ready to then start, proceeding on to the next step. Day 2 is about mastering the tech and the tools for digital excellence. And this is basically about, all of these components that tie it all together. This is the glue that brings everything together. I mentioned before that the chap who was, had all of the different apps, but wasn't necessarily using them because of the sort of missing link, the Stream Deck, not being fully integrated. So mastering the tech is about all of these different components that we have in there. Things like the Rodecaster I mentioned earlier for audio routing as well. Having that as part of the setup. So that is day 2 is talking about those specific tools. Day 3 is then about implementation and taking command of your content, and this comes back to that execution part. So whilst day 1 and 2 are kind of like the first 4 stages of the value formula and the understanding of what's possible, day 3 is about sort of implementation and taking command of the and taking control and understanding, how you can then harness the technology to implement it in whatever you're doing. So I work with coaches, athletic coaches, business coaches, lawyers, accountants, financial advisors, all of these kind of professions that come to me either for coaching or in the academy, personal coaching as well. They're all looking for this way to deliver their value, but all of these different industries are obviously quite different. So there's a difference between fitness coaching versus financial advisors, but at the same time we can still use the same tools to deliver on that value. So day 3 is all about implementing it and understanding how to apply it to whatever field you happen to be working in. Day 4 then is talking about the monetization and turning these skills into success. And there's a couple of aspects to this. Obviously, if you already have your existing business and you're just looking to harness this, then this is more about, new creative ways that you can use this new platform that we've got, because, we have now all got a digital stage that we can be speaking from, be that a stage in a meeting to, a client or whatever that happens to be. Maybe it's a sales call, maybe you're teaching a class, maybe you're doing an online course. But we have a wider stage as well that we can actually harness once you get into the position of being able to do all of these different things. I mean, just even taking this YouTube channel, for example, this has allowed or it certainly accelerated the growth of Take One Tech. I mean, Take One Tech started as a test bed for me to just practice this process of making videos in one take. And still people don't realize that all of the videos on my YouTube channel, this is obviously live, but all of the videos on my YouTube channel are done in one take with no edits. And that was because I was looking for this way of getting over the process of editing. And so, this whole channel has been a sort of evolution of that, but has developed into a 6-figure business of its own. And so that's something that, we'll be talking about, is how you can leverage these platforms to actually enhance an existing business, or maybe even start a new business out of the skills that you have. So that's what we'll be talking about in day 4. Now, the days are basically 9 to 5. There's 4 sessions every day. So there's 16 sessions in all. There's an intro session every day as well. But basically, it is 4 75-minute sessions, so an hour and 15 minutes. And the overall format of it is 30-minute intro, then the first session, then a break, then the session, then the lunch, then a session, break, and then another session, and then a wrap-up at the end. So it's sort of 8 hours a day for those 5 days. And this is really intended to, as I say, completely sort of kickstart your journey with leveling up your on-screen presence in your presentations and courses, or whatever that happens to be. And really, there's no better time to do this than now, because we are in this still in this position where, despite having been, in lockdown for, several years, where everybody was online, now the world's opening up and everyone's coming, back out into the world. But a lot of business is still being done, online. This business in itself is obviously purely online, apart from this upcoming event. But so many businesses now have realized that, there is a huge benefit to being able to do the majority of things online. But isn't it amazing how you still go into Zoom meetings and people are still looking absolutely terrible? It's quite astonishing that after all of this time, people have still not leveled up their game. And so there is this real opportunity to grasp, even now, that you can basically outshine your competition, and it really can make the difference. If you're there in a sales call, for example, and the potential client has just got off with another person pitching their services. The way that you show up in your meetings, the way that you can convey your message will have an impact, because it kind of reflects on how you're going to undertake your job as well. It shows the attention and the level of detail, or attention to detail, that you're putting into your on-screen presence, and that will be surely reflected in your work, which I'm sure it will. So it really does help to sort of just set you apart from the competition. Speaking to somebody who's a lawyer and talking about people showing up into virtual appearances in court, and the impact that can have. So it's all about, what it comes down to is being able to effectively get your message across, and how you sort of portray that. So there really still is no better time to do this, and just sort of get that initial kickstart, and maybe even just as a content creator, to understand how to use all these tools as well. So, and what if you don't do it? Well, there are still going to be always other people who are, going and leveling up their game. So people are slowly catching up. There are better and better cameras out there now, just built-in cameras. The webcams these days on most Macs are a lot better than they were just a few years ago. A lot of people are joining these things from even just their mobiles these days. Have got great cameras in. So the camera aspect of it, that's already there. The level is slowly increasing. So you certainly want to be taking action before the masses do, because we are easy to forget. If we're in these creator circles, it's easy to forget that we are still, the vast minority of people that are actually, taking these steps towards leveling up their presence. So that's really the point about this. There's no better time to sort of jump in than now to get this to get yourself elevated above the rest. So I want to talk about the logistics for the event. And as I say, this is just, talking about the event in particular. So I want to talk about that just a little bit more. And specifically the logistics. So it's the Digital Stage Revolution. As I say, it is live in Dallas. It's also live in Zoom. So I know some hybrid events, sneaky chappies. They'll say it's a hybrid event, and then it's live in person, but then the virtual one is you get the replays a little bit later. So that's not what I'm doing. This is actually going to be a live hybrid event. So it'll be live on Zoom and live in person at the same time, and we'll be taking questions and bringing people up onto the actual stage and the virtual digital stage as well from Zoom. So they're going to run exactly at the same time, because obviously part of the point of this is showing people how to how to take command of your digital stage. So it would be a bit ironic if there wasn't a digital stage aspect to the Digital Stage Revolution. So anyway, you can join on from Dallas or in Zoom, and it's from the 7th to the 10th of October. That's a Saturday until a Tuesday. And as I say, it's going to run from 9 to 5, and that being Central Time, because it is local to Dallas. So those are the timings of the event. By the way, it is located just close to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. So that's where the event is actually taking place. So there is obviously the in-person experience and then the virtual experience, and there are some differences there. So first of all, the in-person experience. So the price of this is $2,497. And there are, of course, some bonuses for those that are attending as well. So first of all, there is the Take One Tech Academy, because as a member of the Academy, you do get that ongoing support. And I understand that people who are coming to this event, yes, they've got this 4 days intensive, and it's all very well that you get your head down, get stuck into it, and think, right, this is amazing. I'm going to start putting this into action. But then when you come out from the event, I don't want you to feel that you're sort of alone to do this on your own. So apart from the fact that you get the replays from all of the sessions, whether you attend live or virtually, so you've always got those to refer back to, you do also get access with the in-person experience to the Take One Tech Academy, and that is at the premium level. So the Take One Tech Academy's got 3 different pricing tiers, and the premium level gives you access to those weekly Q&As. It gives you access to the monthly workshops, and also those cohort-based accelerator courses like the Kajabi Accelerator that we've just done a couple of weeks ago. So that's over a course of a week where we have sort of daily sessions, and content is delivered that way. You obviously also, with the premium level, get access to all of those other courses, current and future as well. Now, the value of that is, if you look on the website, then my academy is priced at $197 a month for that particular tier. So that 6 months of academy membership is valued at $1,182. You also get 2 hours of one-to-one coaching with me. So anybody can go and book a coaching call with me on my website. It's $250 an hour. I have multiple calls a week from people that need help with their tech setups or with whatever they're doing. Lots of repeat clients there as well. So you would get 2 hours of one-to-one coaching if you sign up for that in-person experience in Dallas, and that's obviously valued at $500, being $250 an hour. So the total value actually of all of this, if you look at the in-person event, but then that included 6 months of Academy membership and the 2 hours of one-to-one coaching, then the total value is $4,197. But I'm doing a special offer for the first 10 that sign up. Now, some people have already signed up because I did send an email about this early in the week. But for the first 10 that sign up for the in-person event, there is 60% discount. So that is just $997. And so that is a saving of $3,202. And I've just realised that will teach me to use green in my slides, won't it? But it's $997 with that discount, so a saving of over $3,000 for that in-person experience. Now for the virtual one. So similarly here, we've got the virtual experience. Obviously, when you're talking about an in-person event where you've got catering and venue costs and all that, then obviously the cost is going to be more. But with the virtual event, then the price is just $947. And we've got those bonuses as well. In this case, the Take One Tech Academy, 6 months of the professional membership. So the professional membership still gives you access to those workshops and also those courses as well, specifically the on-demand courses. So all of those masterclasses and beginner's guides. I'm also including at this level, and that's valued at $97 a month, so $582 for the 6 months. I'm also including, though, 1 hour of one-to-one coaching, and that's at $250. So the total value of this virtual experience is $1,779, and with that 60% discount with those first 10 sign-ups, I think we're up to 7 so far, last time I checked, just before going on. And so the total of that is 3,977. What I need to do is just adjust those prices a little bit. So the colours, I should say. So that is saving 1,442. So that is what the event is all about. Those are some of the logistics, and I'll tell you in a moment about another option that you've got to actually get if you miss out on that initial offer. Let me just adjust something here for a moment, and let me see if there are any questions before I go on. I'll just come over here and adjust something for a second in here. I have to always be conscious of using green on a green screen overlay. So there we go. So I'll just change this one up. So just a few hellos. Hey, Jesse, great to see you here. You've plateaued, so that'll be about the gear acquisition syndrome. It is a thing that you do find that there's always something more to buy, but then once you get to a certain point, then it does plateau. By the way, that doesn't mean that you won't buy more, because obviously if you're a complete tech head, as many of us are, then you'll still be potentially wanting to just try things out. So yeah, the Mac Studio is the next thing that's on my my list as well. And the UPerfect screen. Oh yeah, that's the small one that I'm using just down here. There'll always be something else, though. We know this, don't we, Jesse? So Jesse's in the academy as well. Let me just come back to any of these other questions. Hello, great to see you from Arizona. Thank you for stopping by. Not far from Dallas, just saying. It's only this far on the map. That's a little in-joke there with me and Rich. I once went to America as a younger man, and I was navigating from San Francisco down to through Yosemite National Park down to Vegas, then across to where was it? Well, I went across to LA and then up the coast. But we were navigating off a map that was like this big, a map of America. So we were like, right, it's this far. We've got this far to go. Needless to say, it didn't end well. Yeah, driving across a desert with a head like this in a convertible car with no hat when you've only got that far to go, and it turns out it's several hours drive. It didn't end well for my scalp, I can tell you that much. The things that we do. Hey, Michael, have I had any issues with the Streamer X? I haven't personally had any issues whatsoever, no. I tell a lie. No, I did have an issue at the beginning with, but it wasn't with the Streamer X. It was that it was plugged into a dock, and it was doing some weird thing where I was plugging in the Streamer X and the Rodecaster Pro 2, and then suddenly some of the Rodecaster Pro 2 channels were dropping out, but it turned out it was because I was using them both into the same dock. So that's the only thing I had. So it wasn't really an issue with it. It was with the dock. So let me just pop these things back up though here, because I've now corrected my my color issues that I had on the screen. So those are the pricings of the event. I just want to say though that, as I say, those are for the first 10 signups of each. But if you miss that offer, then there is also an early bird offer. Everybody likes one of those, which is, if I just click on here, the 1497. So that's a 40% discount, and that's saving 2,668. And then on the other one, it is also a 40% discount. So that is just 567. So really, when you take into account, the cost of the coaching calls and the cost of the academy, this is also a great way to get into those. If you would like to have some coaching one-to-one with me and be a part of the academy, then this is also an excellent opportunity to get into that as well. That's right. I definitely need to get a hat, Rich. When we go to Texas, when we meet up, get me a hat and protect my delicate scalp. So that is all I was going to cover today. I just wanted to make sure I'd sent out an email earlier in the week, and you'll find it in the Discord. If you are not in the Discord server already, then go and check out that there. If you've got any questions, by the way, about the event, I should probably put up a link to it, so you'll find that in the description. But just when you go over to the landing page for that, just to show you what to expect. So when you come to the landing page, you'll find out a lot more information about the event itself. You can read some testimonials from some of my previous clients as well, and see what they think of working with me. And then here is some other things that outline those different days. So I talked about the 4-day schedule for the event. You'll find that on there as well. And then, by the way, if you're attending in person, one of the great things about in-person events I absolutely love. So either as an attendee or previous events I've hosted with other businesses, then it's this networking that you get to do, because you do get to sort of connect and engage with a whole host of other people who are on a similar path to you, and you can really form lifelong friendships and bonds, and potential for future collaboration. I know with networking events that I've hosted in the past, they have been a real hub of activity, and there's been lots of businesses that have been spurred out of them. So when you are attending in person, then there will be an option for coming out for an evening meal every day as well. So to really sort of help cement those bonds there as well. If you are joining on Zoom, there will still be some group activities in that as well. So apart from the main sessions, I'll do a dedicated Q&A every day for folks on there as well. And then after the event, as well as all of those bonuses in terms of the Academy membership, the one-to-one coaching, there'll also be a dedicated monthly call for 6 months as well, just purely for attendees of the event. So whether you're on Zoom or in person, you'll be able to come along to those Zoom calls. And what I actually do with, the same with the workshops that I do, the Q&As that I do, and the accelerator courses, is I do these at 2 different times. So it gives people in multiple time zones, because we've got folks all around the world. I think the Academy now is in all continents except Antarctica, so I just need to get someone from there to sign up to the Academy. But with people being in different time zones, obviously that's always a consideration. So what I generally do is for those kind of follow-up sessions, they'll be at 2 different times, 12 hours apart. So there's bound to be one that suits you. So those follow-up sessions apply whether you are, as I say, in person or virtually as well. As I say here, you get access to the Academy, some other benefits there that I explain. And then what you can also find, though, is as you go down to the bottom here, there's some frequently asked questions, of course. But if you have got any specific questions, just come down to the bottom of the page. You can drop me a message in there, specify which event type you want. But also, if you're not really sure if it's quite right for you, and you just want a little bit of help deciding or which one is the best option, then you can come here and schedule a call. It's a no obligation, it's a free call, so just click on that button and it'll take you through to a page where you can just go ahead and schedule some time for us to speak and find a time that works for you, and then we can just have a chat and see if it is right for you or if you want to know any more about it. So that is it, the digital stage revolution. Now is the perfect time to be leveling up your on-screen presence, because I can tell you from my experience of just even the past 2 years of Take One Tech, being able to do all of this has obviously accelerated the growth of Take One Tech as a business, which is all based on this entire philosophy, but also in other things that I'm involved with as well. Just leveling up my online game, an on-screen game, I should say, has itself been a game changer, and it really does sort of set the tone for any meeting, presentation, webinar, or anything you're doing. You're putting yourself in that commanding position, and giving yourself a platform from which to speak. So I highly recommend you go and check it out. If you've got any questions, of course, do let me know. Thanks for everyone in the chat for stopping by, and I will catch you all next time. In the meantime, what I'll do is I'll leave a link to the event over here. I'll have to go and pop that in a moment when it finishes processing. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. I will see you next time.